Joining us now, Congresswoman Emilia Sykes, Democrat from Ohio. Congresswoman, thank you so much for making time for us this Sunday morning. We appreciate you. First, I want to get your reaction to what the chairman said on the shutdown front. He says we just need a little more time. We just need a little more time to get this done. And Democrats are voting for a lot of what's coming out of the appropriations process.
Well, we've known that the September 30th deadline was coming. This is not new to us. And the administration is run by Republicans, the House and the Senate. And so it's been up to them to lead us to a place where we didn't have to do this. And so unfortunately, they are using Democrats as the scapegoat for them failing to do the very basic necessity and job of the Congress, which is to fund the government. So the fact that they are blaming Democrats for not coming to the table or not negotiating, and we all knew we had a September 30th deadline, is tragic at best, but really it's political malpractice because they've known, and we're ready and willing to work with them in order to fund the government.
Okay, I am old, and I remember in 2013, I remember in 2013 when Ted Cruz said, and House Republicans said, we will not reopen the government until you eliminate, they asked for Barack Obama to eliminate Obamacare. They said, we want you to sign legislation to do that. And Barack Obama said at the time that the Republicans were going to hold the entire economy hostage over ideological demands. And at the time when he said that, Republicans freaked out. They said, you can't call us hostage takers, you can't do all this stuff. And Obama said, absolutely. What's different now when Democrats are doing something that is similar? What's different?
Well, for districts like mine, we will be held hostage if the Obamacare subsidies are not extended. We've already heard healthcare insurers cancel 6,000 people's health insurance, not just individuals, but these are the plans that small businesses use so that they can employ people, pay them a good wage, and continue to be the backbone of our economy. The largest employer in my district is our healthcare providers, healthcare systems. And so we need them to have some predictability about how they're going to be reimbursed so that they can continue to employ people, keep our economy strong. And so without it, it'll be holding communities like mine hostage, and we won't have another fail-safe in order for folks to be fed and housed and clothed and employed.
I don't expect you to negotiate here in public because that's not how it works.
Well, I wasn't invited to the meeting tomorrow.
That's right. But if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, the Obamacare extenders are where this is, that's the sticking point, in the negotiating. But if that happens, then are you going to, if Hakeem Jeffries comes back to you and says, we've got a deal, we're going to get a permanent extension of these Obamacare tax subsidies, but no change to the one big beautiful bill Medicaid cuts, no change to these other things, are you going to be able to live with that?
Well, I don't know what is on the table for us to agree to. And we will see what they come with after the meeting. But one thing I do know is my constituents and people all across this country are still trying to figure out how they're going to feed their families between gas and groceries, housing and healthcare. There's a lot of expenses that people are struggling with in this budget that we have seen so far. The conversations that we've heard from our colleagues from the other side of the aisle do not address those really basic needs. So we want people to be able to afford their basic necessities, and they cannot do it. And we are not meeting the moment by helping them through this budget process either. Okay,
you mentioned your district. Let's look at your district. Now, a huge nerd, love your district. I'm fascinated by your district there in the Mahoning Valley of Ohio. And you see that little blue dot up just south of Cleveland up there, that's District 13. And I think if we can, and there you are, see your little outline? You're well familiar with this. There's a lot of red around your blue dot. A lot of red around your blue dot. Ohio Republicans are doing a redistricting. Now, it's different from the Texas redistricting because they have to do it, because Ohio is terrible at drawing maps, and the one that you have now is going to expire, and it's time. As you think about these issues, does it affect your thinking ever that all of that red, the red that's in your district and the red that's around it, that how you vote here and what you do here is going to be interpreted by a different group of voters than the ones who elected you last year?
Well, I'm thinking about green. I'm thinking about the ability for people to afford a comfortable way of life in Northeast Ohio. And Ohio 13 is not in the Mahoning Valley anymore. It's been redistricted out of it. But nonetheless, people are concerned about how much money they can bring home, how much they can invest, how much they can save or pay for very basic necessities, gas, groceries, housing, and healthcare. So that's what matters to me.
Okay, but when you think about this redistricting process, there are 5, I believe, Democrats in the Ohio delegation. Republicans would like to see that be 3 or 2.
Correct.
They think that they can do it that way. What do you think?
Well, they drew the map already for there to be only 2 or 3 Democrats. And what they failed to realize is they were not fielding candidates who were good enough to meet Democrats in spite of the fact they're so much red. And so now they're just resorting to cheating. I've been in 2 very difficult election cycles in places in a district where folks thought I had no chance. And I've won twice, decidedly.
This is basically a neutral, this is an even district.
50-50 as you get. And so these are the kinds of districts that people have been asking for, and we are in one. And so instead of putting up better candidates, they're resorting to cheating. And I think that's pathetic. You know, we're not in the Mahoning Valley, but we're the birthplace of champions. We have LeBron James and Steph Curry in the Football Hall of Fame. We're athletes, we're competitors. And if you win, so you don't change the game in the middle when you're losing, you fight harder, you do better, you train more, and that's what we have done, and that's why I've been able to be successful twice.
Okay, you're on the Science, Space, and Technology Committee. When you all came up with, it wasn't just you, but when Congress passed, and I believe you voted for legislation to say that China had to divest itself of TikTok, or TikTok would be shut down.
Correct.
And I said, I'm a little worried about free speech. And people said, you shut up about the free speech stuff, because this is too important, and China is brainwashing our children, and the national security threats. And I said, okay, well, let's see what happens. That was January. The president has not followed that law. He has said, I'm not going to do it. And now we've got a deal that's coming that looks like it will not follow the law either, based on the fact that we expect China to retain substantial control. Why did we have to go through this whole ordeal? Is Congress just going to take another L here and say, well, we had some suggestions, but they weren't followed?
Well, we have an administration that's rogue and does what it wants to do, and a Congress who is unwilling to step up and utilize our power. We've seen it with the tariffs. We've seen it with the rescissions. We're seeing it right now with the government funding package. So Congress needs to step up and do its job and ensure that there is a check and balance on the administration. The concerns against the algorithms and whether or not Chinese government is getting information from American citizens, that remains. But I'm sure that there are a lot of people who are excited to be able to continue to use TikTok. I know it is a significant part of the economy where people can buy and sell many goods and services. But we are concerned about the national security issues and will continue to be concerned. But Congress could fix it if only we decided to do our jobs.
That would be novel. People in Washington doing their job. What would happen? Okay, we thank you very much. All right, America, if you had ever gone to Canton, Ohio, as she said, both to venerate Pro Football's Hall of Fame and the home of President William McKinley, you would know her already. But if you don't, here she is, Congresswoman Emilia Sykes. We thank you